Hello, my convicts and convict catchers. This is I, the convict, bringing you guys and gals another video. So we're going to do a quick tutorial today, or a quick little show and tell of something that I've been talking a little bit about in today's live stream. If you didn't know, I live stream Monday to Friday, 10:30 until 2. I live stream many different variety games. I was live streaming today Need for Speed Heat, so if you want to check it out, please have a look at the channel. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Please definitely drop a like. It definitely helps to support the channel and make videos go even more higher up in the chain of videos. And it really does help to support the channel. We've got 70 plus views on my Need for Speed, and that's purely by people liking the video. So please take a moment to like the videos if you enjoy them, of course. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell to be notified of videos, and subscribe, why not? And if you want to go that a little bit further, you can also join. It's just $1.99 a month, and you get access to emotes, badges, and other cool stuff as well, such as giveaways, and also in the future, maybe some charity work as well. So if you want to help support that, that's how you do that. Anyway, back to the video. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this. We had a good friend, Convict, long-time subscriber of the channel, Muertes, who asked me a question. Big shout out and salute to you, Muertes. So he asked because he's been having a few issues when playing Fortnite. He says mostly in such as like quads. I asked him what his FPS is. He says it's same as his refresh of his monitor, which is 240 FPS. But he's having a drop of maybe to 200 or even 100 FPS during games. There's a couple of things you can do to combat this. Some are obviously basic understanding, such as keeping your computer as cool as possible. You want to keep the temperatures of your CPU and GPU as low as possible. Excuse me, I am sick, so you have to apologize because I've got cough and cold, so I will apologize if I do duck in and out and obviously mute myself. So, yeah, he's having a few problems and issues, and he wanted some help. And I said, well, is there anything you could do? These are kind of things you could probably try and look at, and hopefully these help out in future. So, number one, what you need to do is maybe go and download these two programs here, which is Msi Afterburner, and the other one is connected to MSI, which is called Rivatuner, as you can see here as well. Once you downloaded and you install these, which you can go to msi.com. I will put that link to this in the description so you can find it very easily, so you don't have to go look for it. Then you'll get these two programs that'll pop up. This is Rivatuner, and this is Msi Afterburner. Now, if you're not into overclocking, don't need to touch anything here. The only thing we want to go to is the settings and click on that, because this will actually show this up here you see in the right hand corner, and this is how you'll be able to check your temperatures. Not only that, you'll get to see the usage, which is what this is, and you'll get to see the 0.1% and the 1% lows, which these are the most important for seeing people, especially if you're having huge frame drops or FPS issues. This may be able to fix that and make them more consistent. So you just basically come over to that, click on the cog, like I said there, and then you want to go over to the benchmark. So choose whatever you want. This is going to start and stop recording. This is going to show these. So F7 brings it up. F8 twice makes them disappear. So if you go here and press F8 twice, then it will disappear. Okay. So I'm bringing them back up. That one's to be F7. And then F8 for that one. On-screen display, you want to toggle that on and off. So you make that F12. So when you press F12, this will disappear. F12, it will reappear, just in case you don't want to see it anymore. And then when you go to monitoring, what you want to do is go through each one, and you want to do this. You want to untab them and do it for each and every one that's on here, so they're all the same. I'm going to turn these back on because I want these on. But make sure you do this first. Make them all blank, all of them. And then go back to the top. And then these are the ones you want to turn on. So you want to tick. Then you also want to click so it highlights blue. Then go down, and then you want to click on where it says show in on screen display. I don't know why it doesn't just say tick to show on screen display, not show in on screen display. That's just weird. But the wording, whatever, I guess. So just make sure you go through, you press a tick, click on it, click on this, and go through each and every one. So you want to do it for GPU temp, GPU usage. Go further down. You want to find your next one, which will be CPU temperature. Sorry, CPU temperature. You can do this usage for the CPU if you want to do that as well. So you keep going down, CPU usage. If you do CPU usage on its own, it will do it for all CPU. So not do like specific clocks. So if you want just the overall general CPU, then just find where it says CPU usage. Again, click it, click there, and go down to the next ones, which is the very bottom ones, and then do the same for these. Then make sure you click apply after you've done that, otherwise it will not apply. And that's all you need to do. So once you've done that, press OK, and then go over to Rivatuner. So what you want to do here, you want to make sure it starts with Windows, so make sure it's turned on, make sure this is turned on, otherwise, especially the show on in-screen display, otherwise it will not appear here. Then you want to be mainly focusing on the frame rate limit. But for now, all we're going to do is go down to the bottom, and you've got this in the corner here. This basically represent which corner it's going to. As you can see, you can move it about, and it will move about on your screen. Or you just press these arrows and it will specifically assign them to a corner of the screen. I'm going to keep them on the right hand side. The only other thing you need to touch is this one, because this will make your screen of the icons go bigger or smaller. I'm going to leave them big so you can see them. And that's all you need to do. So I'll move these out of the way because we don't need them now. And then I'm going to go quickly into a multiplayer game and kind of show you what happens. So let's do that now. Let's go into the game. So I'm going to tap F8 twice. That gets rid of that bottom bit. You only want to press F7 when you're in an actual physical game. What you kind of want to try and do as well, if you're going to do such as like you want to do some, or you want to get into doing proper benchmarking, you need to find a specific spot you land in on, press F7, run that specific route. So you kind of need to plan out like an actual route, run that route, and then press F8 as you finish that route. And you can actually record each and every time you do it, because every time you press F8 twice, you press F7 to start it, F8 twice, it'll actually give you the information in a folder, and I'll show you that at the end where that goes, and it'll actually show you the timings, and you can do this each time, and you can actually then mess around and obviously configure it if you want to. If you want to just get a broad general idea, like I generally do, I'm not too bothered about benchmarking, then just follow along to what I'm doing. There's plenty of videos out there that do talk about benchmarking, so if you want to do that, by all means, feel free to do so. Right, so we'll quickly jump into a game. Let me get my controller. Start a game. I'm just going to do a multiplayer game. So wait until you get into the game first. Now, I'm not going to touch anything. I'm going to leave it as basic raw information, and it will give you an idea what my max FPS is. And then you'll see also what the 0 and the 0.1% lows. My God. I'm just going to call it the zeros and the 1%, right? Zeros and the 1%. So you see what the zeros and the 1% are. So while we're waiting, so the main things you want to try and do is, number one, obviously make sure that your computer is getting the best cooling it can get. So make sure that it's well ventilated, that you've got plenty of fans on, that the fan speeds are doing what they need to do, they're ramping up when they need to ramp up, and obviously providing as much cooling as possible. And jump into a game. So you can see I'm around 190 and it goes up to about 212. Okay, so you know about 190 and then 212. So it's fluctuating between the two. So I'm running around, getting anything between those 2 points. Okay, I didn't even see him. I'm not too bothered. I'm not looking in playing the game. I'm just gonna quickly just demonstrate this, and then obviously we'll go from there. Aye. Okay. All right then. This is all you do. You just basically test it out, see where it is, and then go from there. I'm going to leave. So once you've got that idea of what that is, then we can start doing testing. What I was going to do is actually do the F7. So we'll do it now just to show you the F7. So all I was showing you there is the basic FPS. So the basic FPS was fluctuating. You could see it fluctuating between those 2 points. It was going anywhere up to 200 and 212 FPS. So I'm going to show you now the 0s and the 1%, which you'll see them appear underneath. They'll be in white. I think it all turns white, but you'll see the 0s and the 1% turn white. And this is only when you press F7. So make sure, like I said, if you're going to follow along with what I did, just make sure that you put the right settings on there for the MSI, and then you go into the options bit where you can go in and then make sure that the benchmark is F7, F8. And you can do this for screen capture and other stuff. So benchmark F7, F8, on-screen display F12. F12 makes it disappear. F7 and F8 will start this other bit you'll see at the bottom underneath, and that will show you obviously the 0s and the 1%. So you want the 0s and 1% to be as high as possible is the aim. So you want them to be as close to your FPS as possible, to the actual FPS you're getting. So I'm getting about 150 at the moment. So if I press F7, you'll see it appear. And you can see I'm getting 129 FPS and 118 FPS. So you want these to be as high as possible. As you can see now, one's dropped to 72. And you don't want this. You want them to be as close to each other as possible. You want them to be as high as possible. If they're not high, then you may come into some issues where they may see you first and you might not see them as quick. And that's where you don't want it to happen. You want them to be obviously as close to the FPSs you have. And I've got my FPS set to 300 to allow 300. And I'm on 142 to 130. 130 to 140. No, not today, bro. Right. So you can see what it was doing. It was fluctuating, but I'm sure we can do better. I'm sure we can actually make an improvement. So if we double tap F8, that'll make that disappear. Right? So we will now want to go back in. But what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to go into Rivatuner. I'm going to go to that part where it says frame rate limit. And I'm going to limit it to a number I know definitely will work, which is 100. So I'm going to put 100 there. Okay? So we're going to move that back out the way. What that's going to do now is going to actually cause my game to run at 100 FPS and no higher than 100 FPS. So it's not going to go any higher than 100. And then you'll see when I press F7 what happens with my 0s and my 1%. Now you can go in and you can actually name them as well if you want to do that as well. So I'll just quickly show you that while we're waiting to go in. So if you go here and you go to the on-screen display, is it this one? Which one is it? The monitoring, isn't it? You can go down to the very bottom. You can actually go here to the bottom. And you can actually give it a name as well. Where is it? Where's it? You can actually give it a name. Override graph name. I'm going to call it 1%. and apply. And I'm going to rename this one to 0.1%. Oh, I'm just going 0.1 and apply. Okay. Right. So now when I press my button and press F7, it's not showing it. I don't know why it's not showing up. I'll double check it in a moment. But now you can see what my FPS is. Now I'm on 100 FPS on computer, but my 0s and 1% are also 100 FPS. So you can see they're all the same. And you can see how much closer. So now that means when I get into fights, my FPS is 100. My 0s and 1% are 100. They're all at the right number. So I'm going to be seeing them as quick as my FPS is naturally seeing them. There could be no delay between one and the other. And as you can see, it makes my connection much better. Because I'm not having any issues where there might be delays, because it's fluctuating between anything up to 130 up to 200 and whatever it was going up to. I'm now going to have more consistent. And it's going to make it feel like I'm seeing them as they're seeing me without any delays and any problems. So I can react to them as quick as possible. And them not seeing me first, me seeing them last. Obviously, this is still going to be fluctuated by connection, internet connection and stuff like that. That's still going to be a factor into it. But it is going to improve it tenfold. One teammate, get out of the way. Right, and there you go. I'm going to leave it down. I'm not doing too much into it. And there you have it. That's how you can see that. So what you can do now is once you've done that and you press F8 twice, always remember F7 to start this, F8 twice to stop it. Okay? Otherwise it won't stop. Then if you come back over, let me just come on here for a moment, because you can actually get to it through this. If you go to, I think it says benchmark, it'll actually tell you where the file of the result is. Then you just click on browse, and it'll actually bring you to where it is, and you can click open. So if you find it, you can find the benchmark. And then you can open it. I forgot which one it is now. View. Is it view? Yeah, view. Okay, so you just click on view. I knew it was one or the other. And you can see a list of all the averages, the maximum, minimum frame rates, and then obviously what your 1% lows and your 0.1% lows were. So you can see here, I got an average here of 60 FPS. The minimum was 59. The maximum was 60. And then the 1% were 55.1. And my 1% is there, my 0 and 1% are 49. So considerably underneath. So the ones we want to focus is the ones at the bottom here, because these are the ones I've just done now. These are the 2 or 3 that I've done. So as you can see, when we've gone on to this one, we've got an average of 135. The minimum was 35. The maximum was 165. So it was getting between 165 and 135. Look at my 1%, 12.3. Look at my 0.1%, 3.5. Now, these will not probably be right, because I think I've done it where I've come back to the menus. You have to cancel it before you come back to the menus. And I've not done that. And that's why it's dropped to 55.5 and 8.2. Because what you need to do is when you do the test, make sure you finish the test before you come back to the menu. Otherwise, it will skew your results. But if you noticed in the results at the top when I was playing, and you can go back and pause it, you'll see I always had 100, 100, 100. And then on the other ones, obviously, it will depend on what that is. I'd have to go back and look into it. Just make sure that when you do the test result, that you press it F7 like this, and then before changing screen, say this is going to change my screen. If I do this to this, make sure you fate it, then change screen, then do it, then stop it. Otherwise, it will skew the results, like I said, and that will cause problems. So make sure you press F8 before you back out of a game. Otherwise, it will mess up your results, like it's done for me on there. And basically, that will help you out. If you put it down and make sure that you're getting the highest, and then go up slightly gradually, maybe 5 or 10 FPS, to the point that you can start to see the 0s and the 1% going lower and lower and lower. And then you just decide, obviously, where you're going to cap it at. Because, like it's been said, and I agree with another YouTuber I've been watching a lot of, who obviously does a lot into analytical sort of testing and stuff and things like that. They discuss saying that it would actually be better to have better 0s and 1% lows if you were capped at 60 FPS than it would be to have a 245 FPS but getting extremely low 0s and 1s. Now, obviously, if you can get 245 FPS and your 0s and your 1% are 245 FPS, you don't need to change anything. Keep it as it is. However, if you're getting really low 0s and 1s at 245, and you can actually get a consistent 100, 100, 100, then it's best to leave it 100, 100, 100. Because for especially first-person shooters, that's where you want it to be at, because that's going to make sure that everything is working at the same time, at the right time, showing you at the right time. There's going to be no blips in the equation. If you start messing about and having crazy FPS and your 0s and your 1s are incredibly low, then you're going to have a really bad time of huge delays between you seeing them and them seeing you in gunfights, stuttering. All that stuff is going to be a huge factor. Now, obviously, it's never going to beat your internet connection. Your connection is always going to be what it is. So you're always going to have those problems. But if you can keep your 0s and your 1% at the same as your frame rate or higher, then you're going to be much, much better off. So just remember, FPS is good, yes. The higher you can get it is good, yes. But only if your 0s and 1% are equally as good as your FPS. If not, lower your FPS, cap it, especially for first-person shooters, and make sure that your 0s and 1s are on par, if not higher, than your FPS. And that will help you out big style when playing games, and obviously getting record kills and doing much better in games. Hopefully this helps you out. Hopefully it helps you out as well, Muertes. Big shout and salute to you once again, my good friend. Thank you very much for watching. If you do enjoy this, don't forget to like. Please, please, please do one thing for me. Like this video, if not anything else. And subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification bell. Join if you want for $1.99 to get exclusive emotes, badges, giveaways, codes, hopefully in the future for Steam games. And obviously charity work as well if you want me to do more charity work. The moment we can get to a point where we get enough people who have joined and are members, then we'll definitely be looking into doing that. Anyway, it is Convict signing out. As always, I salute you, my convicts, convicts, and I'll see you in another video. If we can say it right, in another video. And yeah, bye for now.